Well, hello everybody, welcome back to Robert's Train Set. And in the last video you saw the engine shed, which is sitting on the layout here, completed, or at least completed as far as I wanted to go at this stage. I have since varnished it and stuck all the windows in. And I think in the last video I did say I'd put a few spots, but what I found was in here with the heat, the bigger wider windows, the ones in between, were curling. I think probably because there was card on one side, nothing the other, so they expand at different levels. So I have actually glued them in with as much glue as I could find on them. So they seem to be okay at the moment, we'll have to see. Hopefully with the cooler weather they'll be fine and really go off hard. So I also said at the end of the last one that I've got a parcel. Well, yeah, it's more an envelope than a parcel, isn't it? But it, you know, it has come on Royal Mail, and it did have to have a photo. So although that would have gone through the letterbox, you did actually have to ring the doorbell and I could go and get it. So what was in it? So I think the next job I'd like to undertake is some ballasting. Now I can't ballast the whole layout because I've still got things to do, and as we all know, you've got to do it to a certain extent in order, haven't you? Which is why, you know, the station was sorted, the engine shed has been sorted. I've still got the unloading shed to do, which is going to be the hardest thing, I think, to make it work. I'm still not convinced that it will. But the other thing I want to do, I've got the under track magnets, haven't I, for the KDs, but I've also on some of my rolling stock got the old Hornby couplers, and some of them are fixed. You know, the TTA wagons, you know, they're fixed. Yes, I know you can change them and do what you need to do, but I don't particularly want to do that, to be honest. So at some stage I was hoping to do like a clear plastic in between the rails that you could push up and down. And as I don't want to use electronic methods to do any of this except for the computer, it would have been more push rods in the layout, and I just think it's not going to work, and it would have been a nightmare to get it all to work. So I think I did say at some stage that I was going to try magnets. So what was in the package was magnets, unbelievably. And if I show you this warning on the front, if you can read it and I can hold it steady enough, yeah, interesting. So let's get them out. And what I bought is some little magnets. So these are 3mm diameter by 2mm, and they are fairly strong, I believe, hence perhaps the warning. And as you can see, they all, I mean, they, you know, it's sort of similar to what's in the hung couplings and others. So I'm hoping to use these to lift up the, what's the name now? There's been loads of videos on those, and I've seen quite a few, which is where I got the idea from. So I need to experiment and see what I need to do to get them to work reasonably reliably. So that's where we are, and yeah, interesting. Now I have sourced these from an English supplier. Now whether they come from China in the first place, I don't know, and I did actually pay about £10 for these 50, and I'm sure you can get them a lot cheaper from China. But you know, we do need to support our local firms, don't we? You know, so yeah, I'm quite happy. You know, so I got them from, if you can see there, Magnet First Magnets. That doesn't come out very well with that folded, does it? Let's try that way. There we are, First Magnets I got these from, and they've got a good choice, and you can buy 500 if you want. Didn't want 500, but whether the 50 will be enough, I don't know, because I'm thinking I might have to need multiple ones in the track so that, you know, if there's any movement on it, it'll still work. So that's still experiments. That's what I'm going to do. And that's why I need to get these in the track before I ballast it, because it'd be a nightmare doing it with the ballast already done, wouldn't it? So having done the intro for the video, my curiosity got the better of me, and soon after I got these magnets out of the packaging and experimented basically to see how they worked. Now, these are incredibly tiny, and I think I said in my piece that they were 3mm by 2mm, but I tend to think they are actually 2mm by 2mm. It seems to be like that, but anyway, as you can see, gnarly. And you put them anywhere near anything metal, like for instance a pair of tweezers, and instantly. So they are difficult to handle, to be honest. The other thing that you've got to do is, I want to use the same poles to push apart. So you need to know when you're putting them in which is which and thing. There's no, you know, north and south written on these. So I thought the easiest way to do this is, obviously with them like this, it's north-south, north-south. So if you then put a little bit of a black felt tip pen, or even black paint if you wanted to, and do that, and then take that one off, which isn't that easy because you tend to get 2 or 3. And look, it demonstrates, doesn't it? Look, I've just dropped them and they've gone to the other end of the... Oh dear. So there's the one that I've marked black, and it's still attached to the one underneath it. So I'm going to try and get those off, and that's gone immediately back to the main thing. So with those done like that, and that's a pair, isn't it? I thought I got a bit of Hornby track here. It's not flexible, it's solid. And I found a bit for my drill that is roughly the same. And what I wanted to do was to actually drill a hole through the sleeper and push it in. And hopefully it would be tight, but that proved to be absolutely impossible because sleepers, especially on this Hornby track, were not wide enough, and it would wobble all over the place. And as you can see, there it is, look. If I turn it over, it's very hard to see, isn't it, with it blacked out. So, would this work? So, I'm obviously using it for my rolling stock with these types of couplings in, the old Hornby Big Ds. Equally it will work with the little Ds, but they tend to go into the old sockets, don't they? So I don't want to change all these, although I suspect it wouldn't be too hard. So that's what I did. So I decided that I'd leave the coupler on here, and my first thoughts was just to stick it to the side of the... But then looking at where it lines up on the track, so I don't know if you'll be able to see this. Let's there's a magnet there. Let's move that that way a little bit so it's more in the centre. So let's try a bit of light on it without my hand getting in the way. So hopefully you can see the magnet there. And as this goes over, it's you know, it's off to one side. So I thought it was worth bending it over. So I used a couple of pliers to bend it over. Now these particular ones are metal, which obviously helps. And what I've done is, if I can get it to focus, I've glued it on there. So I bent up the coupler and stuck the magnet on there. So does it work? So with the magnet centre stage, there look, let's have a look. So if I run that slowly over, what happens? Certainly does go up. And what I found is if you go carry on, it stays up because it jams onto the ring. But if you go backwards, the magnet then pulls it back down again as it runs over. So will this work in practice as a train? So for this experiment I'm going to use the Ginty, and because it has got the arms on these and I didn't want to actually cut them off at this stage, I just used a bit of black tack to sort of hold it out the way. Because it's no good having two arms gripping, because you know, it just won't work, will it? Even with a magnet, because you'd have to have two magnets to do it. So with my train ready, and I've just got a banana wagon that I've changed the couplings over, let's give it a go. So if I just pull the train gently forward, and remembering the magnet is there, so I bring the train gently forward. There's no motor in this, by the way. And if I go slowly over, it stays coupled. But if I come forward and stop, there we are. Works lovely, doesn't it? And obviously, if you go over without stopping and then come back again slowly, again you can uncouple. So this has been incredibly easy. I thought I was going to have all sorts of problems. Now it's almost too strong, and my plan was to have more than one magnet in the track, so that if anything moves a bit it'll work. But it seems to be, I'll have to do some experiments to see if you know, wherever the coupler is it'll work. So we'll see. So it's going well. So I think we'll carry on, and I'll just show you after my experimentation what I've done. So this is a small amount of my rolling stock with the big D couplings on, and the first problem I found was, if we go and have a look at these little carriages I've got here. Now this one here, I fitted a magnet on, as you can hopefully see, and if you look at the coupling itself, the lever arm is actually riveted on. But my other two of these, they just have the one that is sort of slotted over, so there's no rivet, it's just a plastic pin that comes out and this sits over. Now trying to bend the bit that hangs down at 90 degrees, I just found these kept coming off, and they don't seem to want to go back on again, they just fall off. So there is a limit to what you can fit these to. Now there's probably nothing to stop you maybe trying to glue the magnet on the side, which I didn't try, but you could perhaps do that. But you then have to have all the magnets in the track offset, or near enough anyway. So let's go and have a look at what I've done on the track. So if you remember at the beginning of this, I just drilled this magnet into the sleeper, didn't I? Not particularly successfully, but it glued in and it stayed in. And they do need to be held quite firmly because there is a strong pull. So what have I done on the actual track on the layout? Let's have a look. So after some experimentation with the trains actually running, although it would work, like even the uncoupling ramps for the JDs, getting it in the right position is difficult. So this is what I've come up with. So if you notice, I've stuck these magnets between the sleepers and not through them. I found this a lot easier to glue the magnets in, which I did using a pair of tweezers, but you also need a non-metallic stick to do it, and I use cocktail sticks in this instance. So place it in the super glue with the tweezers, and then hold them on with the stick while you withdraw the tweezers, because otherwise you'll just pull them away. And I did have a few problems where I put them round the wrong way, but I have actually fitted 3 the wrong way round on purpose, and we're going to have a look at that, shall we? So this is where I put my JD coupled wagons at the moment, so I just need to move the banana wagons out, and I'll show you a problem I had here. So here's my train for the demonstration, and the end Denby truck is actually the locomotive, because if you have a locomotive with the arms working, even if they're pushed up, it derails the guards van because the magnets grip onto each other. So that's my locomotive. So let's push this train in, and if you notice, I put the track cleaning rubber there to show me where the uncouplers are, because it is very, very difficult, even with them on full view there, to know where they exactly are. So when I ballast all this track and have stuff on the outside, I'm going to have some sort of marker, and I'm thinking perhaps some just non-working signals, you know, the ground signals, that might well do the job. So if we move this in, and as you can see, it comes away. But what I was finding was that when it was sitting there, the coupler here had been affected and was up, and as I think the actual KD's uncoupler here was affecting that. So what I've done is, to keep it together, I've actually put 4 magnets the wrong way round here, so that it actually pulls it down. Now if I relocate the camera, I'll show you. So if I slowly bring in the guards van to where we went, and as you notice, the uncoupler at that end uncouples, but as I move across, that goes up. Now there isn't a magnet or one of the new magnets in there to do that, and what's happening is that uncoupler for the KDs is actually reacting to that magnet and pushing it up. Now that's why I put those in, because it pulls it back down and keeps it down, because the whole way there it was up because this was affecting it. So what I would say is that it's sort of, you have to sort of do a lot of fiddling and sorting out to get this to work. So I think we'll go on from here, and I'll just do a little running session just to see if I can actually get it to work. So we'll see. Okay.